All right, welcome to the Elks. My name is Trevor Odom. I'll be filling in for Stephen Carson today, and I am the Assistant Marketing Manager at the Elks Performing Arts Center. Today we have Justin Ames. He's the founder and CEO of Sky City Audio, and I'll let you take it from there because you're doing a better job.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trevor.
Yes.
So like you said, I own Sky City Audio here in Prescott. We specialize in DJ services. So we do a lot of weddings. We do a lot of corporate events. And then we also have a live sound and lighting service. So we do a lot of speeches and seminars. We do a lot of live concerts, outdoor concerts, and just pretty much anything that would need any sort of sound and lighting. So again, corporate events.
Mm-hmm. Who have you worked for? Any bigger names in town? Have you done anything like that? Who exactly have you worked for so far as doing like corporate events and stuff?
So we do we work with a few organizations. So Signals AZ and Fane Signature Group. We do the summer concert series that they do every month. And then we're doing the Highland Games Festival this year.
Awesome.
So we did it last year, but we're going to do it again this year. And then we do stuff for like the town of Prescott Valley. We've done some stuff for the city of Prescott.
Cool.
So we do a lot. We try to do a lot of like community stuff, community events too. So we've got some stuff for the town of Prescott Valley. They have a swim-in movie night.
Familiar. Okay.
Yeah, so they've got that on August 1st, and then one of my DJs, Caleb, will be DJing that before the movie. So it'll be kind of fun. We try to be.
And in addition to that, you said you do weddings as well. What exactly are you doing for the weddings? How does that work?
Yeah, so we like to take like a hands-on approach, like a real personalized approach to all the weddings that we do. We do a lot of planning and stuff. We spend a lot of times with our couples to kind of just make a really great experience for their wedding, and we try to take as much off their plate as we can. And I would say the weddings is probably the biggest part of our business.
Okay.
That's kind of our specialty.
If I was doing a wedding, what would I be looking at? Like, how much would I be? Because I know from my position over at the Elks Performing Arts Center, we do a lot of weddings. We usually encourage people to get DJs. DJs sometimes tends to be left off the list because the list of things that you need can get a little bit excessive and the price goes up. If you were to convince someone that they need a DJ, what kind of services do you offer to convince someone that they need a DJ, and what kind of price would they be looking at for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we find that a lot of the couples that hire us don't also have like a coordinator, like a day of coordinator, and so the DJ kind of steps in to that role. So we do a lot of we'll do a lot of announcing. We help our clients build like a timeline. We have a really awesome planning system that we've created through our website, so they can go in and plug in music and stuff like that. So we get all the details as much as we can, and then we basically like coordinate the day of, so keeping with the general flow of like the different activities and stuff. So everything from like ceremony, cocktail hour, grand entrance, all the activities, and then dancing. And then in addition to that, we bring all the sound equipment, wireless mics, lighting and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I really have, being in the position I have, I get to see it from kind of the bird's eye view. I'm not involved at all other than renting the venue, thank goodness, because I wouldn't want to have to plan their wedding. But, having all of those services really is a good thing. And I remember you showing me your system. It seems to be pretty squared away.
Yeah.
And something that's definitely a lot of couples, especially if they don't have the day of coordinator, which I'm also going to plug day of coordinators right now because I think they're super, super necessary.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
especially if they don't have it, at least they have that. So that's good. And I know you're the only, as far as you're the only DJ service that actually has that. So that's an addition that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Right, exactly. Cool. Yeah, so that's a system that we've built into our website. So if you book us for your event, then you automatically get access to that. And then we do 2 1-hour planning calls with our clients. So once we get them all set up and booked and everything, we book one right away to go through the entire system. We go through all the details, and then we schedule one last one with them, usually like 2 to 3 weeks before the wedding, just to make sure we have all the final details. And the first call, if I'm not the DJ, like if Caleb's going to be the DJ, then that'll give them a time to schedule either like a meeting, like an in-person meeting, or if they're out of town, schedule a Zoom call. We use Zoom a lot for our our
I think
meetings
a lot of
and
people
stuff
are
like
going to the digital meetings, so I think that's good, especially if you're coming from Phoenix or you're coming from outside of town. It's easier to do something like that than it would be to come to an in-person meeting. It saves you time, saves them time. So that's just added value, I think. I think that the Zoom is a good thing to use. So now, the next thing I'd like to talk about specifically is how we know each other, and let's kind of shift into the recording studio that we have at the Elks Performing Arts Center, how we met, and what kind of services we have over there. I mean, you're more familiar than that. I kind of just do the managing overall. You've kind of been the one who's gone in there, started utilizing the equipment, suggesting what equipment we need, that kind of stuff. So if you want to go ahead and kind of give a brief overview of how that works, your experience in recording in general, and then we can kind of shift into our recording studio there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got hooked up with the Elks Theater actually through a networking event.
I remember it was the wedding professionals.
So we have a networking group that we've created with wedding professionals, but I got connected with the Elks because on my business card it said recording services, and you had said, we're Elks Theater is building this recording studio. We're looking for engineers that can come in and how about at the studio. So we've kind of been able to get in. The Elks Theater's kind of developed a really cool, studio where it offers like different sound rooms and stuff like that. And then as far as like my experience goes, I started recording pretty early on. After I finished high school, then I went to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, which is just like a college down in Phoenix.
Specializing in recording and sciences, that kind of stuff. Okay.
So it specializes in recording and then live sound.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got into that, and then once I finished that, I moved back up here and kind of just started working.
You've had your own studio before, right? You used to have your own studio, and then you started getting more into the DJing and the other stuff, and now you've come back utilizing our studio. So it's not like this is your first professional studio environment. You've had your own as well. So.
So I had a recording studio for about 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And I kind of just decided, I didn't really have a great space for it. I was doing, a decent amount of projects, but I kind of decided that the space I was in wasn't really right for me. So I kind of shifted my business to where it's at now. But now that I've gotten hooked up with the Elks, I can now do Sky City Audio, but then also come in and be the engineer for the recording studio at the Elks.
That's awesome.
So
I know that for us, one of the reasons we wanted to put that in there is there are other great studios in town. One of the things that I've said every time I've been in any kind of a public environment where we talk, everybody in town is super great, and we're not trying to compete with anyone, but we do see some holes, and one of the holes that we saw was affordable, studio time in town. And so getting people to be able to come in and even though there's really great professional studios in town, we had people who were coming from church groups and from different, maybe they were a local band, and they said, hey, we don't have a place where we can go where we can afford. Our church can't afford to spend this much money, and that's one of the things we've done by creating the studio is kind of create the space. So we were really glad to be able to get you on because you have so much professional experience. And we had someone that, because if not, I would have had to try to do it, and no one would ever come to our studio because it would sound horrible.
You know so much about recording.
I do. Right? I mean, I can make it seem like I do, but once they hear their CD, it's going to sound like cats scratching for 45 minutes. So that's super cool that you got to come. And then for that, how does that work? So if someone wants to come in and book, I know we've talked about this, we've kind of gone back and forth. I think right now, what we've done is made it so that you're in charge of the studio pretty much. And how would they do that? How do they get in contact with you and for specifically the studio?
So there's a couple ways that they could do that. They could go into the Elks Theater and obviously talk to you, and we can get contact info there. And I think you guys have something on your website. Is that something?
So the website's kind of in development right now. And then once our full website gets launched, we're going to have a whole tab of contact information. As always, it's PrescottElksTheater.com. That's where you can get all the information from us. And then, of course, you can also call the office number, which is 928-756-2844. But we will have a full website where we'll have forms and services and stuff on there as part of the programming of the website. So, and then as far as you're concerned, obviously they can go through Sky City Audio, that avenue to get a hold of you if they needed to for any kind of recording stuff as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So they could go to my Facebook page. I can also give you my my phone number and my email address if you wanted to just go directly through me. And I can even, if you want to look at the studio first, we could schedule a time. I can give you a studio tour, kind of just show you some tracks that we've done there. But my email address is justin@skycityaudio.com, and my phone number is 928-830-2313. So you can either go through the Elk Cedar or one of that piece of information.
If you go through the Elk Cedar, we're going to just give you to Justin anyway, so it's all going to lead back to the same place. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously there's multiple ways that you can get a hold of us for that. And then as far as equipment in there, they've gotten a hold of us, they've seen it. What kind of equipment are they going to be expecting when they walk in there? What kind of equipment?
So they've got some really good equipment. So as far as like recording software, they use Logic Pro with a MacBook Pro. And then they've got Mo2 recording interface, which is it's got plenty of inputs and outputs and stuff like that. They've got KRK monitors. They've got like a bunch of different types of microphones, so they've got like Audix mics, they've got Shure mics, they've got all different kinds of just different kinds of like vocal mics, just condensers. We can do full drum multi-track recording, pretty much anything. Like if you need voiceover done, we've got mics for that. If you're just like a solo artist, they've pretty much got like a plethora of really good microphones and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, and then the different rooms, they have like a tracking room, like a big, I call it like the main room. So we can do, full drums in there. And then there's 4 additional rooms to where we could kind of like isolate everything.
And the cool thing is they're all those Wegner sound lock rooms. So they're those ISO booths where, if you're in there and you have multiple people, it's not going to really affect it, and each one has its own inputs and everything. So, as long as we stay within the maximum input number of the studio, we can have multiple people in there tracking if we wanted to, or we can, even separate them out and have a single person, or, person instrument tracking, but do it in different rooms so that they can keep their setup. You don't have to move things around, which I think is really cool that we can do that there. That's one of the things that I wanted even though I didn't know anything about recording, I wanted that. So that was one of the things that I did, wanted to make sure that we got. And when you came in and you saw it, obviously I think you agreed that it was a good idea to have. So as far as rates go, I'll talk about the rates a little bit since we set them. So we're looking at about $50 for your time, which I don't think is bad. And then we have $20 an hour for the actual studio fee. So, we're looking at $70 an hour, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have rates. I know we haven't really had to do this yet, but we have even set rates for, church groups, things like that. We can always make a deal for some of those nonprofit, potential customers and clients in there. And so it's a huge... The purpose of having it was to have a community space. So we never want anyone to not be able to go in there because money is an issue. Especially if you're a church group, if you are some kind of a garage band. I know I had a phone call before it was even started. One of the reasons why I was so passionate about doing it, we got a call from this kid. And he sounded, I had never met him, but he sounded like he was probably 12 years old, maybe. He said, I have this band and I really want to record, but, my dad won't take me to Phoenix to go record. I was like, that's so sad, I really wish we had our studio up because I just let you, throw you in there and let you record a couple. But, that was one of the big, drivers for me is because there is a huge music scene.
There is, absolutely.
There's a
lot of musicians here.
All these bars, I have kids now, so I'm not cruising the bars as much as I was back in the day.
Me too.
I did notice when I first got here, before I had my whole fleet of kids, that all these bars, they get full with local artists. I know over at the Elks, and we'll talk about this. I have some events that we'll talk about over in the Performing Arts Center. But we have events upstairs as well. We're always getting bands requesting to come up and hang out with us. So having that space for them, having the space for the church groups, I think is super important for the community. And it's part of the mission. Another thing I say whenever I'm in any kind of public forum, to remind people is we're a nonprofit. You know, the Elks Theater building is a historical building. We're part of the community. We're a nonprofit, so we're here to benefit the community. And it's really cool to have you with us as well, because we can have those professionals in here while we're still presenting a community service. You know, we still have the value there, but we also have, you know, professionals who can come in and help us out. So we super appreciate that, especially at the rates you're doing it for. So that's super cool. So. Now, you've had people in there already.
I have.
Who have you had in there so far?
So, a couple of friends of mine, one of them's a worship pastor for a church out in Frisco Valley.
Awesome.
And so him and a friend of his came in and did, tracked a couple of songs. So we did, you know, full drums, you know, pretty much a full band between the two of them. So they kind of just tracked everything out individually. Right. And so, and that's one thing we do. If you don't want to record everything all at once, we can do everything, you know, one by one. And that's what we did for that first one. Right. So we just, everything was tracked separate and, you know, played to a metronome. And it sounded really good. The room's really, really a great room for that, you know. Right. So I would say that was the first one we've done. And I actually heard that sample that you had afterwards, that when you got all chopped together, sounds super good. I mean, I didn't, you know, like I've mentioned this several times, and I just want to make it clear that I don't know what I'm talking about. But to my layman's ears, put that disclaimer out there. Yeah, it sounded super good. I'm not saying not a professional, not a professional opinion here, but it sounded pretty good, you know. So I was super stoked when we had that tracking in there, because now we have that in the library. And so one of the things that we really want to do now is and that's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, obviously, as we've talked about this before, but just so that everyone else knows, is because we want people to call us and use it, you know. That's why I've laid the rates out, you know. If you're a church group, you know, we'll make a deal. If you want to come in, it's a community space, and we want the community to be able to use it, you know. And so you know, that's why I want to really get the word out, because it's not going to do any good if no one knows about it. You know, no one comes and uses it, and you know, it's there, and we have you, and we have that track, and obviously, you know, we're willing to do tours. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to show you guys around. I can pull up some tracks. I can even pull up that track that we were just talking about, and just kind of show you just some stuff that comes out of the studio. And then I think we started talking about this, and it might be too early to say, but if we could always record, you know, a live show and then mix it at the studio. Oh yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, that's 100%. I mean, because that would be on you and what your capabilities are, you know. And so obviously, if anybody wanted to do a show, and that's another thing I'll plug right now since we're on the topic, is you know, if you're a band and you're looking for a place to do a show. I mean, we have a 100-person venue upstairs now. That's brand new. We have a stage up there and everything. So if you wanted to do that, you could even get some extra out of it by having, you know, you come up there and doing a recording. So you can have a live CD and you get a gig out of it. You know, we do gigs with all sorts of bands now. So we have our you know, our Top of the Elks, which, like I said, I'll plug that a little bit further in a minute. But just, you know, to overview. We do have the Top of the Elks. We have jazz bands come up. We've had, you know, a lot of this town. It's weird to me because Northern Arizona is like an anomaly of bluegrass. So we have like a lot of like bluegrass type bands there. I'm originally from Georgia, so that's kind of something that, you know, Appalachian type music. And when I heard that there was like a bluegrass scene here in like central Northern Arizona, I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know. It was quite a bit. Yeah, they skipped 2,000 miles to get here, but I guess they're here. So, so that was kind of cool to have. But we've had those. You know, we've had some country concerts. I'm actually talking to a gentleman now who has a Norteño band, so he wants to do some of that. So I mean, no matter what that is, and then of course you could track that, and they get the extra value of that. So they get a gig and they get a CD out of it, which is you know, super cool. Again, not an expert because I can't even play the instrument, but to me that seems like a good deal, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So. And the acoustics in there sound great, you know, and then. Not only that is, you know, if we're recording it, we can also help with the sound part too. So then that way, you know, you'll sound great in the Elks Theater ballroom, but then we can also take those tracks and make it, you know, almost like a demo, like a live album for you, or like a demo album for you. Right. So yeah, that's cool. That's super awesome that we were able to do that. So
One thing that we haven't really touched on, and we'll go back to, we kind of been skipping back and forth because I want to keep it interesting. I don't want to, be drone on about something that people don't care about for 30 minutes and they'll tune out. So let's go back to live sound because we didn't really talk about live sound. I know you've done a couple things in our theater, but you haven't done a whole lot, I don't think. We've been talking about trying to get you in there some more. But as far as live sound services, because someone might be hearing this and say, okay, well, I don't need any of the other stuff. But you do live sound, and I wanted to make sure that you have the chance to talk about the live sound stuff that you can do, so you can kind of plug that a little bit, and there might be someone who's interested in that as well. So
yeah, absolutely. We do all kinds of stuff. So weddings is still a big part of that. So if we have a wedding couple that maybe doesn't really want a DJ, but they still need to have some sound at their wedding, we can do stuff like that. We do the summer concert series out in Prescott Valley for the fan signature group. So that consists of speakers, and we do lighting. We provide all the microphones, all the monitoring, all the lighting, and we have myself and I have 2 other guys that work for me that are sound techs. So we can mix, like if you're playing music, we can mix your on-stage monitors, but then we can also have myself or one of my other guys mix everything that the guests would hear. So we provide all the sound systems and everything, and then recording. We can record the live set. So wherever you're at, we've done everything from corporate events, so speeches, company parties or meetings. We've done other live shows for other DJs down in Phoenix or up in Prescott. So pretty much whatever might need sound systems for,
right.
We can provide the equipment for that, and also a tech for that.
That's awesome. And you're expanding, right? You're starting to have employees, and the business is going pretty well. So that's super good. So definitely means that people have liked the product you have, or else they wouldn't be you wouldn't be expanding right now. So that's super good. And you've been doing this for a while, you said. I mean, if we go back to that, you said you started. When did you go down to the symposium down in or the what was it? Can you
conservatory?
The conservatory. When did you go down there?
So I went there. It was 2008 that I went to, and then finished about a year later. They have a pretty condensed program there, and then I ended up moving back up to Prescott, and I kind of just started doing it on my own and doing some freelancing.
I heard tell that you were in a heavy metal band at one point.
I was, yeah.
Did you? What was the band called?
Well, I played in a few bands. One of them was called Hung Jury. It was metal.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
So I actually did vocals for that, and then I played some guitar in a couple of punk bands.
So you not only have you been doing this for a while, and you have a lot of experience, and you're expanding. I mean, you're a musician too, so you definitely get it from that side as well.
Yeah.
You didn't just go off to the conservatory and say, "Hey, I'm going to record everyone," but I don't know anything.
Yeah.
You were a musician first before all this happened. So that's kind of cool, and that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up too, because I think in any industry there's a certain amount of those who can't do teach type thing, and so you've done it, you've been in the band, so you kind of know what they're going to be thinking as you're recording them and doing all that stuff. So I definitely wanted to bring that up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug some events.
Oh yeah,
real quick. So I'm not going to need you for right now.
Okay, awesome.
So
you're saying you want to kick me out?
No. You can stay right there, but I'm not going to be talking to you. So, all right. So first off, I'd like to talk about some of the events that we have coming up for the end of July. Now that we are, I think it's the 25th today. So we're definitely at the end of the July.
Oh, 26th.
26th. Yeah, I'm a day off.
26th.
I don't want the year to end so fast. So I don't want summer to be over. So. One of the things we do roughly every Wednesday. These movies are every Wednesday. We do movies. So on the 31st, we have Somewhere in Time. On the 7th of August, we have Tombstone. The 14th of August, we have Jaws. The 21st of August, we have Pretty in Pink. And the 28th of August, we have Steel Magnolias, which we discussed that is not a documentary.
It's not
a
documentary
about steel manufacturing. That is actually okay, so that's good. I'm glad we cleared that up. So those are some movies. All the movies, like I said, are going to be on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. They are for a donation only So come out. Most of these movies are definitely going to be classics. Tombstone is probably going to, I would hope, would be pretty popular here in Arizona since it's, and Prescott, since it's mentioned. Prescott's mentioned the movie a couple times. So hopefully we get some people out there for that. And all those movies again are on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So the next thing I want to talk about with you is, are you going to be going to my movies? So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so I want to see.
I'm going to be there
because no, we don't have to talk about the movies. Let's talk about the theater, because now that I'm talking about stuff that's going on in the theater, we'll have a real brief conversation about some of the shows that we have in there too. Have you been? You've been to some of the shows in theater. You've done some of the shows.
I've done
some of the sound. Which shows have you done the sound for so far?
Let's see. Hold on. What was it called?
I put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
It was one of the plays we did. What is it called? I'm sorry. I'm totally drawing a blank.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But you
have
Rocky
Horror Picture Show.
Yes,
we've done
that's
one.
actually a popular one.
Yeah, we've done that one. We've done.
Yeah. How could you forget that one? That's one of the most popular ones you have in the theater all year. One of the most important ones. You couldn't plug yourself on it. So.
Yeah, we've done that one. We've done a few others there. A couple plays there.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you have been in the theater. The theater has been, especially in the last few years, been doing really well in kind of mixing it up. I know there was a large, for me, I'm one of the marketing managers. I'm supposed to always plug the theater, but I will say that before I started working here about 3 years ago, the shows of Elvis impersonator coming in every 3 weeks was not really my generation's strong point, but they've done really good. They've done the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know that was before as well.
Yeah.
Some of these, and we'll just go into right now. I'm going to kind of go into some of the shows we have coming up, and you'll kind of see how we're taking some of those tribute shows that I was talking about that may not be popular with my age group. And we're, so one of the things on the 31st, we have Sugar and the Mint coming. And I know you're familiar with them. I think everybody in town that's familiar with the music scene is familiar with them. They've really, really shot up, and they're definitely famous in town. And they're starting to get famous in kind of their genre, which I don't even know how you would describe them. They're just good, I guess.
Yeah,
they kind of are really good at fusing several genres together, and they're good to go. But let me talk about these shows real quick.
Okay.
On the 2nd of August, we have Rave On, which is a salute to Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and more. Okay, so that should be pretty good. We have on the 10th of August the Tapestry, the album show. So that's going to be the music of Carole King. On the 16th of August, we have Mirage, which is Visions of Fleetwood Mac. On the 17th of August, we have Heartbreak Hotel, which is a salute to early Elvis. I was just saying that, but this is a good one. This is a good one. So on the 23rd, we have a celebration of jazz from New Orleans to New York, which jazz is also...
jazz is pretty big in Prescott.
Yeah, it's surprisingly popular here. Yeah. I'm a fan of jazz. So,
I love jazz.
And like I said, see, this is another chance for me. I'm just going to plug the concerts now because we do have a Top of the Elks every second Monday. So every second Monday, we've been doing jazz concerts from about 7 to 9 p.m. Doors usually open around 6 p.m. In August, it's going to be on the 12th because it's the second Monday. And those have been doing super, super well. I mean, we have packed houses. We usually get about 75 tickets total sold. That's about the capacity for these shows because we do open up a dance floor for those. And they've been really, really popular. On the 12th, we'll actually have King Copper Jazz Band, cool. Which they're going to be a new addition. We haven't had them before, but yeah, jazz is super popular. I mean, I wouldn't think that you would be able to fill up 75, 100 people for jazz, and they're not doing. A lot of people haven't even been doing contemporary jazz. They've been doing a lot of older like swing jazz and earlier
it's really popular
jazz,
here in Prescott for sure.
Definitely popular stuff. And yeah, I finally got the chance to pitch the Top of the Elks. The Top of the Elks every second Monday. This time in August, it's going to be the 12th. So continuing on, we have on the 23rd of August a celebration of jazz. Sorry, that's not continuing on. The 24th of August and the 25th of August, we have Mamma Mia. So that's going to be from 1 to 7 p.m. on the our two shows. 1 and 7 p.m. on the 24th. And 2 p.m. on the 25th. So just again, on the 24th, we have two shows, 1 and 7 p.m. And on the 25th, we have one show at 2 p.m. So just so you know. 8:31, that's when we have Sugar in the Mint, so we talked about them a little bit. But Sugar in the Mint will be here on the 31st of August. I'm actually pretty excited for that. That's one that I like to, I always volunteer to work that night because sometimes I can work down in the theater and then I don't have to pay for tickets so I can see them for free. So I'm going to go down and definitely be watching that and seeing that because they're a really, really good band. And if you haven't seen them before, I know that you have, I have, but anybody who happens to listen to this podcast, watch this podcast, and hasn't seen them, definitely worth whatever money you pay. And it's a really, really good act, and they're all younger too. They're all like I think in their early 20s. So it's super good that they've been able to get that kind of fame and recognition, and that they've been able.
Yeah,
to
they're killing it.
So, so on to now. All of those shows are, unless they were otherwise mentioned. So the Mamma Mia show is different. All the other shows are going to be at 7 p.m. is the normal starting time for shows. If there's any special instructions, you can go to see them, and you can also buy tickets at www.prescottelkstheater.com. That's www.prescottelkstheater.com. You can also call the management office 928-777-1359, and they can also give you some assistance there as well. Let's talk about the upstairs. So I'm the manager over at the upstairs, and we already talked about these Top of the Elks concerts, which are jazz concerts that happen every Monday. But we're going to also want to talk about what's going to go on the 14th. So the 14th is going to be a folk sessions, big broadcast, live radio show. That's in the Elks Crystal Hall, which is the big hall. And then we're going to have on the 11th. So let me back up real quick. We also have special events, as you know, so the whole floor is always rented out. There's tons of people coming and going. And so on the second floor, we have special events going on. So we have the Stillwater Sitting Comfortably for Meditation, and we have the Meeting Each Moment and Introduction to Mindfulness Meditation. Okay, so those are two meditation classes that are coming up. Those are going to be in the second floor of the Elks building. You can get information at, again, www.prescottelkstheater.com. Go to classes, and then if you look into the classes you want, there's information there. So just real quick, just to recap everything, we talked about our studio, okay? We talked about the rates for that. And, so those are going to go for $70 total. We talked about how they can get in contact with you, and if you want to just remind us of how we're going to do that.
Yeah, so there's a few ways. So the Facebook page, our website, and then my phone number is 928-830-2313. And then you can email me directly, justin@skycityaudio.com.
Okay.
And those would be the best way. Or visit Elks Theater, and we can schedule a time to do a studio tour.
And then so we talked about the studio. We talked about your experience. We talked about your run-ins with the metal band back in. How old were you when you had the metal band, by the way?
Oh man, I don't know. I played in various bands, so I probably started. I probably went in my first band like 15. 15. And then I was in and out of bands when I went to school down in Phoenix, and through my 20s and stuff. I'm not playing with anybody right now, but
hey, if anybody needs a guitarist, then we have someone here for you. So there we go. See, that was a good plug for you. Maybe you'll go. You'll be the next big thing. So. Okay, well, we have that. We talked about that. We talked about your company, and it's really good that your company is doing well. I know, as far as us overworking, doing weddings and other events, we do other events as well, but a lot of what it is weddings really need, because the other events, I feel, they have, coordinators, they have professional people on the staff, and those people are able to help them plan a little bit. The weddings really, if you're planning a wedding, even if we don't get any business out of you, please at least get a DJ, if not a DJ and a wedding coordinator. That's one of the things I want to leave a message on, because that really helps out. But
and whenever it's nice, because for our services, whenever we work with a coordinator, it just strengthens the services.
Exactly,
more,
that's what I tell everybody.
So we always recommend it. It's always a treat for us to be able to work with a coordinator, because we can do all the stuff that we did, but we could work directly with the coordinator and take more stuff off the bride and groom's plate, as much as we can. That's kind of like what our what we like to do is try to just make it easy.
Right.
We want to try to,
of course,
make it stress free, and then adding the coordinator is,
I think that you're completely right, and you know where I was going is that's exactly where I was going. The fact that you're willing to work with people, the fact that you have all these extra services, I think is one. That's one of the reasons why you've been able to expand. You have now you're hiring a lot of employees. You were just telling me when we came in, you have to write SOPs now because you have so much going on. So that's always really good, and I just want everybody to know that from the Elks Performing Arts Center at least, we have fully endorsed all of your services and everything.
Cool.
And so
I
want
appreciate
to
that.
make that. That's one of the reasons why we have you here. That's one of the reasons why we're working with you on the studio. And I'm really glad we got to have this conversation. So
yeah, same here.
I'd also like to thank Lynn. I'd like to thank everybody at the Prescott E-News for hosting us. Okay, and I also want to pitch real quick, just if you have need any information on anything we've talked about today, as far as the Performing Arts Center of the theater is concerned, please go to PrescottElksTheater.com. Again, that's PrescottElksTheater.com. You can also give me a call if you want to directly talk to me. Any complaints, don't talk to me, but you can if you want, I guess. Concerns, comments, questions, please, 928. My office line is 928-756-2844. You can also email the general email, which is info@etpac.org. That's info@etpac.org. And so the next podcast is going to be on the 23rd of August, and that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.